Welcome to the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show.
Cup of Joe Wrestling Show?
With Joey Harris. A podcast for the wrestling fan on the go. So take your favorite beverage of choice and join Joey as he takes a look at some of the biggest shows on the WWE Network.
Welcome, everyone, to the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show. I am your host, Joey Harris, and we are broadcasting from makeshift studios in the shadow of South Central Virginia. You can follow the show on Twitter and Blue Sky at Cup of Joe Pod. Email the show at cupofjoewrestlingshow@gmail.com. If you would like to support the show, you can do that at paypal.me/cupofjoepod. I am also on Cash App and Venmo at the Joey Harris. And this is a episode that is going to be dropped on the regular feed as well as the Patreon feed, but this is actually a Patreon episode. So I'm joined by my Patreon co-host, Tyler. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So folks, all of this that you're going to get today, plus so much more bonus episodes of Cup of Joe on Patreon, Joey Harris Super Show, the Green Room, the Film Club, the Book Club Baristas, all that and so much more, just $5 a month at patreon.com/baby kangaroo media. So we usually don't do this on the regular show, Tyler, but this is an exception. Today we're going to talk just a little bit about the Elimination Chamber.
Oh, okay.
Before we discuss WrestleMania 25, which is a show that you picked that we're here today for. So give me your overall thoughts first on the Elimination Chamber.
Overall, I thought the Elimination Chamber was really good. I was happy with the Women's Chamber. I thought realistically anybody in that match could have won. It was very good. I like the surprise Jade come back and attack Naomi.
Right.
And we found out that Naomi is the one that actually attacked Jade. And Liv Morgan was in the ring, like cowering, like, oh, I'm scared.
Liv Morgan has really become one of my favorite wrestlers.
Mine too, actually.
Like all of her, like just performances over the last year, she's really climbed high. And then you have her performance in the Royal Rumble, and then you go to this. You see Jade come out and she is just scared. She's like, oh, crap. And then Jade attacks Naomi and Liv is like, I told you it wasn't me. I told you.
And then it just like her closing Naomi in the chamber door.
Right.
I was like, that's good. That is good TV.
Right. And then so Bianca wins, but now they've got this whole triangle with Naomi attacking Jade, and then Jade involved in all of that, and Bianca now at ringside for Io versus Rhea Ripley. And then I thought, well, this is it's going to be Rhea versus Bianca. And they're like, wait, just a second.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Don't count your chickens before the eggs hatch.
I guess so. So it's going to be really interesting because somebody told me that they may make this a triple threat match and get Rhea back in the match.
Which I think would be a phenomenal match.
But now, as we are recording this, it's Wednesday, March the 12th. We've got 5 weeks until WrestleMania. There is a lot.
Of build-up that can happen. Yeah.
A lot of build-up that could happen. So I'm trying to remember, after that, what did we go to? What was the next?
Was it Sammy versus Kevin Owens?
I know that was on. I thought that was in between. I thought that was right before the men's match.
I will look up the match card real quick, just so We are.
I'm thinking US. It wasn't title wasn't on because I'm like, it's got to be more than just 3 matches. Oh no! It was Trish. It was the women's tag match.
Yes, yes, the women's tag match, and then it was Kevin Owens and Sammy.
So
Um,
you,
okay, I'll be honest. As much as I like Tiffany, and as much as I like Trish, anytime there is a Nia Jax match, I tend to. I don't care. I don't like her in the ring. She looks reckless. She scares me when she does anything. So to me, it was just a waste of a match.
I understand that, but I've always been a big Trish fan, and I'm becoming a huge Tiffy fan.
Mm. Oh yeah.
Thankfully, like they did, neither one of them got hurt because
Right.
sometimes Nia lays it in, um, and is not good about hitting her marks where she's supposed
Right.
to hit them. But it was a nice little moment, especially for Trish, for her kids. She talked about her kids got to see her
Mm.
wrestle
And being in Toronto,
and being in Toronto. They are good about having that. I call it elimination chamber time match in Canada because they get some great crowds. If you remember 2 years ago, it was Sammy versus Roman in the elimination chamber.
Yep. Yep.
So then there was the what they called like the lights out match between Sammy,
The unsanctioned match.
the unsanctioned match, and they really did put like just a spotlight on the thing. They like turned out the lights.
I want to
For
say one hell of a match. They beat the hell out of each other.
absolutely, they laid it in. Although I did hear somebody say on a podcast they were talking about a friend of theirs was doing that, and they're like, again. What are these two just like pick a number? They're like, that's how many days it'll be before we have another match with each other.
It works though. Them two kill it every time they step into a ring.
They do, and I'm like, are they gonna like? I thought for a second there, I'm like, are they gonna switch it and we're going to have Sammy win? Because ordinarily, I'm like, Kevin Owens is going to win this.
Mm.
And then there were a couple of minutes, I'm like, maybe they're going to switch it and have Sammy win. But you get all of the agents coming down, and then the security, they take their time and they do their thing, and they finally Kevin Owens wins, and you get the second big return of the night after Jade with someone who hears voices in his head.
Good old Randy Orton.
And I told you there was a time where I'm like, if I never see Randy Orton again, I'm good. But he's really grown on me the more I watch of his matches. It was like I didn't want anything bad to happen to him. Don't think that. I just didn't want to see him wrestle. But he has grown on me. But I tell you, when he gets that, when he comes out, the place just went crazy.
Exploded.
Yeah.
I was sitting there when we were watching it live, and he's holding the chair for a sec. I'm like, I love Kevin Owens, but I was like, punt his head off, punt his head off, punt his head off. And then he set up for it, and I was like, oh, he's gonna do it.
And those pesky agents had to stop him.
Yeah, I know. What a shame.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're set up. I'm guessing that's the match going into WrestleMania. And it'll be interesting to see if Sammy comes back for that, if he gets involved in that.
Yeah, I mean, it's either going to be, Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton, or it's going to be a triple threat match between the three of them. And then I see, obviously, kind of like what we got a little bit of last year when Kevin Owens and Randy Orton versus Logan Paul, and they kind of teamed up a little bit against Logan Paul, and then, obviously Logan retained, but I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of did a similar thing with that.
Yeah.
Because putting with Randy having, his back issues now,
Mm-hmm.
obviously being a little bit older, I feel like it's safe to put him in a triple threat match because, you can have the match it can be more chaotic a little bit, but it also can be shorter because it's a triple threat match. So,
Right.
like, for his safety, I feel like that works pretty good.
Oh no, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly with that. So then we get to the men's elimination chamber, and I've got a few thoughts. John Cena, Logan Paul, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest. I believe that was it. It was
Hmm.
six
Yep.
people. Um, uh, Drew still has his whole, like, he has multiple storylines going. Every time like something happens to him, you're like, oh, that builds on what has happened to him before.
Hmm.
Like his obsession with different things always costs him the match. It also feels like to me, like through no fault of his own, like they are trying way too hard with Damian Priest to make him be as over as they want him to be. I'm not saying he's a bad wrestler. I'm just saying at this moment, nothing seems to be clicking for him, and I don't know why.
It's, it's, yes, I agree with you. I feel like what part of it is even in this match, you look at the star power, excluding CM Punk, because in my opinion, Punk has got sloppy with his age and just being away from wrestling as long as he has. But like Logan Paul, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, John Cena, I mean, he's not on their level of performing in the ring for one, and then for two, it's almost like he doesn't know himself as his own character, if that makes sense.
Right, right. No, I get it. And it may be, this is what I would say, like come up with something, or you and the writers come up with something and take advantage of a situation like Drew did after he injured Punk last year.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
that's when things opened up for Drew. Yeah. A couple of things. Logan Paul, nobody can taunt a crowd like Logan Paul. I will
Mm.
give him that. I'm not a Logan Paul fan at all, but when he comes out with that American flag, I'm like, he knows what he's doing.
Oh yeah.
And he's writing on the pod and all of that. And then Punk comes out. Punk gets a good reaction when he gets in. And there were a couple of like nice spots where Punk is like cheering them on in his pod. And then later on, when he actually gets in, and he tells him and Cena's like, "I missed you too."
Yeah. I don't know if you saw, but the light in his pod kept dropping.
Oh well, when he kept trying to,
And
yeah,
he and
yeah.
he put it up twice, or maybe it was three times. I can't remember. But I remember seeing a fan video from being in the crowd. Every time that he put the light back up, they would cheer for him.
And then there's this, not so much at the end of the night, but there was a part when John Cena does the "You Can't See Me" and the 5 knuckle shuffle to Logan Paul. And I'm like, oh, Logan, please just take it. Do not do anything to mess that up. Because at that moment, if he had moved or had messed it up, they would have rioted.
Oh
I'm like,
yeah.
the at this moment, the chamber is now protecting you from the crowd because they wanted that "You Can't See Me" and the 5 knuckle shuffle at that moment.
I was I guess my better question I should ask you is who did you want to win the Rumble? Not Rumble, sorry,
The chamber.
Chamber. Chamber.
I could have made a case for anybody really but Logan Paul.
Mm.
I did not want to see Logan Paul. I thought it would have been interesting if Punk had won it, but when Rollins gets eliminated, but he's still like hanging around, and they're doing the whole thing back and forth with Punk and with Cena. I'm like, Cena's going to win because Rollins is going to cost Punk. And that's exactly what happened. There was a little bit of a switch because originally the whole thing between Cody and Rock, they wanted to go on earlier because Rock really wanted Cody to join him, and that finally, like, Triple H and Cody's like, I'm not going to do that. That doesn't make any sense. Cody's like, I don't mind turning heel. I don't mind turning back, but it doesn't make sense in this case.
Right.
You beat me down. You did all of this. It makes absolutely no sense. And so Triple H is like, and John Cena's like, I don't care. I'll do it. And all that. So originally it was going to go on before this, and then Cena was just going to win, and then it was going to be like Cena would be the face and Cody would be the heel going in. They just switched it to take place after this. And then so they do that. Cena wins. They celebrate with the crowd. Then they come out, and Cody comes out, and then Travis Scott comes out.
Boo.
Like, I don't like
Sage or something. I don't know.
All over the
voodoo. I don't know.
Something. And at first, I'd heard from a couple people too. They're like, "Was this just?" They're like, "Was The Rock trying to scam us? Is he not really here?" When they realize it's Travis, and then he finally comes out, and they get all that, and they go back and forth, and we get. I'll put up the explicit label for this when I put it on the regular feed. Cody dropped the little F-bomb.
He did, yeah.
Not a little one. He leaned into it.
Oh yeah. He told Rock to go fuck himself.
Yes. And the crowd,
I like that.
And the crowd enjoyed it.
Yes, they did.
And so he embraces Cena. The Rock does his little cutting gesture that he does, because it's not even like, the Undertaker's cut thing. He does it like
with two fingers.
Two fingers, yeah. While Travis Scott is making sure that corner is all clean. There are no evil spirits with all of that.
I guess. Who knows what he's doing?
Tyler, if it had been the week that I moved in back in Maine, that girl would have come and said, "We need to empty out the arena. There are bad spirits here." That was just for Tyler, everybody. That was for one person.
I will never forget that.
Not knowing at the time, I didn't even really know you yet, that it was you up there that was making that girl say all that stuff. Anyway, moving right along. So, and then Cena, it was like somebody flipped the switch. He's like, and he's like, and so then he attacks Cody. The Rock attacks Cody. And Travis Scott, if I was Cody, I would be like, "Look, I've already dropped one fuck. I'm gonna jump back up and beat it out of you. If you hit me like that."
Busted one of his eardrums.
Yes, and his eye, and I'm like, we all know Cody. Like, he'll fight through it, but I'm like, I would take that. I'd be upset. I'd take it from John Cena. I would even take it from The Rock. I wouldn't take it from Travis Scott.
Once I got backstage, I'd slap him. Be like, "Now you know how it feels."
Yep.
Now we're even.
Because, The Rock said at the press conference, like, he told him to lay it in. You don't lay it in like that. You make it look good, but you don't lay it in with the rings and stuff upside the guy's eardrum. And Cody played it off like,
because he's a professional.
Right. On one of his podcasts, Conrad Thompson said that he reached out to Cody because Conrad knows all of these people, has all their numbers. He's like, "No, man, it really didn't get me. I'm all right. It was just he goes, "It looked worse than it is." And so then Conrad's like, he comes out, and his face is all messed up and stuff, and he goes, that's him being a professional. But I'm like, "Oh, no." So that's going to be interesting. And then a couple of nights ago, they had the Seth Punk cage match, and Roman Reigns comes back. So I'm thinking they're setting that up for a triple threat.
Triple threat, yeah. Which I'm hoping will be a killer match. I'm hoping. My one thing that does worry me, like I said, is obviously Punk is older. He's slower. It's whether or not he's going to be able to keep up with Seth and Roman.
I think that because him and Seth have both said they don't particularly care for each other, but they're both professional. And I think that, I mean, this is WrestleMania and stuff like that. And Seth, especially last year when we saw him in Philadelphia, I mean, I told you many times he was the MVP of the weekend for me.
Oh yeah.
Working hurt, I think he and Roman can do something and work around Punk. But I'm wondering if that's the favor that Punk's going to ask of Paul. I would be interested. And he's like, no, I'm going to save my favor and use it on the main event. Because I want to see him like have a run-in with The Rock, because we saw from last week he has no problem stating his opinion of everybody and everything.
Oh yeah.
So that's going to be interesting to see, but let's get into what we really came about. So that was Elimination Chamber, but today we're going to take a look at WrestleMania 25 from the WWE. WrestleMania 25 was shown on pay-per-view on April the 15th, 2009 from Reliant Stadium in Houston, Texas. There were 72,744 in attendance, and the show did 975,000 pay-per-view buys. We have an intro of WWE superstars discussing the biggest WrestleMania moments. Howard Finkel welcomes us and introduces Nicole Scherzinger to sing America the Beautiful, and she gets a huge ovation. We then get our WrestleMania intro. Michael Cole, Jim Ross, and Jerry Lawler are the announcers for the event and welcome us to WrestleMania.
Now,
yes.
Before you continue, something I want to make clear to our audience. That WrestleMania 25 was the very first pay-per-view that I watched in person. But like not in person of being at the show, but like it was my first like pay-per-view that I got to watch. Any pay-per-view prior to that, like obviously I watched on DVD or VHS, you know.
Right.
But this was my first live pay-per-view that I got to watch.
I'm thinking the next year's was the first live full pay-per-view that I got to watch.
So 26 was your first?
Yes.
What two great WrestleManias.
Like I had seen bits and pieces. The first pay-per-view I got to watch was Starrcade 97. My aunt and uncle ordered that. And then the next March or April, whatever WrestleMania 14 was. I'm coming back from my home to college for the weekend, and someone had ordered it in the lobby of the dorm I lived in.
Nice.
I come in, Tyler, no doubt, no lie. I come in right when they're starting to announce the participants for the main event. I lived on the first floor. I run down, I throw my clothes into my room and then run
fast
back
as you can.
And then watched it from the lobby steps, the whole thing.
That's awesome.
Stone Cold and all of that. And then 2 years later, the same thing in the building I was in at that time, someone ordered WrestleMania 2000. And that's when they had that WrestleMania all day thing. And it was just, it just exhausted me. But at the end, I'm like, wait, they let Triple H go over The Rock at WrestleMania? What in the world is that? And then then there were several years I just didn't have cable. I was getting into my first marriage and we were just always broke. But I'm like, look, if I need to watch it, I can always rent the DVD or buy the DVD, which I did. But we had just gotten, actually not long after this, we were wanting a TiVo. And so we go to buy the TiVo and the guy at the Best Buy goes, do you have cable? We're like, yeah. He goes, don't get this. Go to your cable provider and say, we want a digital box. It does the same thing with that. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. And so then I'm like, hey, can I order this WrestleMania pay-per-view in HD? And my wife at the time was like, yeah, I don't mind if you do that. I'm like, okay, do you want to watch with me? She goes, not really. I'm like, okay, do you have 4 hours you can do something else?
Yeah. Bye-bye.
And recording it, I watched it like a couple of times, but I'm like, I'm not going to keep it on the digital box. But recording it in HD at the time took like 20% of the digital memory.
Yeah, I could imagine.
So that's awesome. I was going to ask you right when it broke up. I'm like, whatever he says after that, I was going to ask him, I'm like, Tyler, did you watch this? And apparently the answer was yes. but they start out hot. The Money in the Bank ladder match is the first.
Well, I think there is something we do have to talk about before the Money in the Bank, because there was a pre-show.
Yes.
There was, which was the Colognes, Carlito, and Primo versus John Morrison and The Miz, which I'll tell you, forgettable match. I completely forgot about it.
Right. But yeah, that was, I was going to mention that, and then I didn't put it in my notes because I looked it up, because I look up like on Wikipedia or something to see, where the location and all of the, and I saw that and I'm like, well, I need to write that down, and then I forgot. So, but the first of the pay-per-view proper is the Money in the Bank ladder match. The participants are CM Punk, Mark Henry, who had Tony Atlas with him, MVP, Finley, who had Hornswoggle with him, Shelton Benjamin, Kofi Kingston, Christian, and Kane are your participants. The Spanish announce team is introduced. The bell rings and they start to either go after ladders or hit each other with forearms. Everyone has their moment to shine. Everyone also goes for the briefcase. Kane and Henry get taken out, and then they take everyone else out. Everyone does their spot on the outside. Benjamin with a dive onto everyone off the ladder. And then Hornswoggle with the tadpole splash. More spots to try and retrieve the briefcase. Kingston slammed into the ladder by Henry. Punk and Christian fight, and then Christian hits the unprettier off the ladder. Benjamin powerbombs MVP onto everyone on the outside, and that looked nasty, is what I wrote on my notes. Christian holds his balance and the crowd is into it. When he doesn't fall over and he rights the ladder while being on it, they're like, wait, is Christian going to win? Back and forth with Punk. Kane knocks Christian off. Punk knocks Kane off and grabs the briefcase to win. So Punk, back-to-back Money in the Bank ladder match wins for Punk.
It was a good match. I think something that I just looked up as you were reading off your thing is that was Christian's return to WWE. Was WrestleMania 25.
He had been gone to TNA since
for a 4-year absence.
Yeah, around October of 2005, October, November of 2005. So yeah, and then goes to TNA, and then you're right, this was his return. And I think that second run, even though I think the first run is more memorable, I think his second run is a better run for him.
I agree.
Then we get Kid Rock performs a medley of songs before the 25 Diva Battle Royal. Your participants are Eve Torres, Jillian Hall, Katie Lee Burchill, Brie Bella, Beth Phoenix, Alicia Fox, Gail Kim, Kelly Kelly, Layla, Maurice, Michelle McCool, Melina, Mickey James, Maria, Natalia, Nikki Bella, Rosa Mendez, Tiffany, Joy Giovanni, Molly Holly, Miss Jackie, Sunny, Tori Wilson, Victoria, and Santina Morella.
Wait, who?
Santina Morella.
Okay, just making sure.
Yes,
just making sure.
Santino's twin sister.
Yes.
It comes down to Melina, Beth Phoenix, and Morella. Morella wins. Everyone is confused as to who it is. And Phoenix is furious at Morella. Now, I will say this. I do not get political on this show, But fun fact, our current president of the United States is the one who actually fired Santina from the WWE.
Yes, he did.
And then we have a flashback to what led to the next match, a 3-on-1 handicapped elimination match. Chris Jericho versus Jimmy Snuka, Ricky Steamboat, and Roddy Piper with Ric Flair. Mickey Rourke is shown sitting at ringside. The Legends get a tremendous reaction when they come out. They greet Rourke at ringside. Piper attacks Jericho. He clotheslines Jericho out. He gets a 2 count. Steamboat tagged in. The Hall of Famers are looking good. Snuka tagged in. Jericho puts him in the walls of Jericho, and Snuka taps out. So he's down 1 legend. This is an elimination match. Piper comes in and attacks Jericho. He gets Jericho in a sleeper, but Jericho fights back and pins Piper after an enziguri. Steamboat hits a crossbody for a 2 count. Back and forth. Jericho with a rear chin lock. Steamboat fights back. He skins the cat. Jericho knocks Flair off the apron. Steamboat backdrops Jericho out. Steamboat hits a tope. Steamboat with a top rope chop. He gets a roll up in a 2 count. Jericho with a bulldog. Steamboat with a power slam for a 2 count. Steamboat with an inside cradle out of the walls of Jericho for a 2 count. Jericho with a code breaker to get the pin. Flair comes in and Jericho attacks him. Flair chops Jericho. Jericho hits a code breaker. Jericho gets a mic and berates the crowd. He says he did what he said he was going to do. He calls Rourke out. Rourke gets out of his seat. He gets in the ring and jabs Jericho a few times. A left hook knocks Jericho down, and Flair raises Rourke's hand.
Now, my thoughts on this, and we've talked about this before. Forgettable all the way up until it is Jericho and Steamboat.
Right.
And I want to say, for what Steamboat at that time was late 50s, maybe in his early 60s.
Probably, yeah.
And still performed, honestly, like better than some of the people on the roster at that time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I'm looking up to see how old Ricky Steamboat would have been. Was born in 53. So
2009 minus 50 or 1953.
Yeah. Hold on. He was in his mid 50s at the time. 56.
You said 1953.
Yes. February 53. So he would have already had his.
Yeah, he would have had his birthday. So yeah, he was 56. 56, to think about that. 56 right. Years old, and he was putting on a better performance than some of the people who are on the current roster at that time.
And had not been a wrestler in 15 years because he
right.
was injured in 94 and had to retire.
That just mad respect.
Absolutely. And so I feel like after this is when things really start to pick up for this show. Flashback to what led to the next match. Extreme Rules match. Matt Hardy versus Jeff Hardy. The crowd is solidly behind Jeff. Matt says something to Jeff and gets slapped. Jeff is relentless. They fight outside, back and forth. Jeff grabs a chair but misses the splash attempt. Matt hits Jeff with the chair. Matt hits Jeff with a shop vac. He hits a side effect on the chair. Matt wraps Jeff against the ring post and pulls back. Matt sets up a table. Jeff with a clothesline to Matt from the apron. Matt ran into the ring steps. Jeff hits Matt with a kendo stick. He puts a trash can on Matt and hits him again. He gets a 2 count. He misses a swanton. Matt hits a twist of fate for the 2 count. Jeff with a superplex. Jeff hits Matt with a chair. Jeff puts Matt on the setup table. He puts a chair on Matt. Jeff sets another table up on top of Matt and he dives through both tables. He rolls Matt back in, and Matt gets his foot on the ropes. Jeff throws 2 ladders in. He leg drops Matt off a chair. Jeff sets both ladders up. He goes to leg drop Matt from the top of the ladder, but misses. Matt puts Jeff's head through a table. No, through a chair. I said it. I wrote a table, but it was through the thing.
The chair, yeah.
Yeah. And hits the twist of fate to get the pin.
Yes, he did. And you want to know what? This might be an unpopular opinion, but I'm glad that Matt got the victory in that match.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you remember watching back during that time, Matt was the afterthought.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Hardy was the star.
Right.
And Jeff was Matt was the afterthought. And so I felt like it was almost like Matt got his moment to shine.
Right. Now I'll say this, Tyler. I'm gonna give you a little peek behind the curtain of how I take notes when I'm doing notes for the podcast. Is I watch about 30 minutes at a time because I do it at first thing in the morning. So right after the pin is the 30-minute mark. So I stop for the day. All right. The next 30 minutes when I watch the next day, it starts right here and it goes through the not even the first minute of the Shawn Michaels Undertaker match. So there's 30 minutes of a lot of stuff in between because there's one match in between that does not go for a long time.
21 seconds.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you wrote that in your notes.
Yeah. Randy Orton is shown in the back getting ready for his match. We get the Intercontinental Championship match, JBL versus Rey Mysterio. JBL at first, and he puts the crowd down. Mysterio out in Joker-inspired gear.
And don't we love Rey Mysterio when he does cool themed gear?
Yes.
But that he can't do anymore, unfortunately.
JBL trying to intimidate Mysterio during the introductions. The belt is presented. JBL attacks Mysterio and beats him down in the corner. The bell rings. Mysterio hits an enziguri, the 619, and a splash to get the pin and become the new Intercontinental Champion. Mysterio grabs the belt and leaves. JBL's shocked with his head in his hands. He stands up and says, "I quit." And that was his last singles match.
Yep. 21 whole seconds.
And then we get a flashback to what led to the next match. So there was a bit of I'm like, ooh, the introductions and the flashback. This is going to take a while. Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
Michaels out first, and he's lowered to the ramp. He's dressed in all white. They have organ music playing until he gets to the ramp, and then his theme kicks in. He gets a great ovation, although it's nothing like the reception The Undertaker gets when the gong hits, which we know firsthand.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do.
The bell rings, and they are facing across the ring from each other. Michaels chops Undertaker and looks to stick and move on Undertaker. Michaels with corner-mounted punches. Undertaker throws Michaels into the corner. Michaels gets Undertaker in a Fez press after faking an injury. Undertaker beats Michaels down. Undertaker hits a corner whip and a backdrop. Undertaker with a press slam for a 1 count. Undertaker does old school. He hits the hits on this.
Oh, yeah.
Michaels attacks the leg. Michaels puts the figure 4 on. Undertaker fights to get out. He does, and Michaels goes back to attacking the leg. Undertaker slams Michaels in the corner. Undertaker with a corner whip and clotheslines. Undertaker hits Snake Eyes, a big boot, and a leg drop for a 2 count. Undertaker goes for a choke slam, and Michaels turns it into a crossface, which I was shocked to see.
That was cool.
It was, we're not even 2 years after the whole Chris Benoit thing, though. So I'm like, nobody's going to do a crossface, but if you're Shawn Michaels facing The Undertaker at WrestleMania,
You can get away with it.
They'll let you do a crossface. If it's Joey versus Tyler, that's our last match in the gym.
Yeah, we're fired.
They let us know our services are no longer needed as soon as we come back. All right. Undertaker fights to his feet and side slams Michaels for a 2 count. Back and forth. Michaels with an inverted atomic drop and a clothesline. Michael goes up top, but jumps into a choke slam attempt. He avoids it and goes for sweet chin music, but hits Undertaker's leg to knock Undertaker down, which they went with, but you can totally tell he was going for sweet chin music and didn't realize Undertaker was as close as he was. He goes back for the figure 4, but Undertaker grabs him and puts Hell's Gate on Michaels. Like I said, they're pulling out all the hits. Michaels gets to the ropes. Undertaker runs Michaels into the ring steps. Undertaker misses a leg drop on the apron when Michaels moves. Michaels with a baseball slide to Undertaker. Michaels misses a moonsault to the outside when Undertaker moves. The referee checks on Michaels and tells him that since Michaels is hurt, the referee is going to stop the match. Michaels pushes the referee away as Undertaker goes for a suicide dive. Michaels pulls a cameraman in the way and Undertaker crashes into the cameraman. 4 people down at ringside. Michaels gets in the ring. He checks on the referee and drags him into the ring. He tries to get the referee to count. He starts to count, but the Undertaker beats the count in. Undertaker blocks sweet chin music and hits a choke slam. Michaels kicks out of the count. Michaels hits sweet chin music out of a choke slam attempt. He gets a close 2 count. Michaels up first. Undertaker hits the last ride and gets a close 2 count. Undertaker misses a flying elbow drop. Undertaker throws Michaels out. Michaels goes to skin the cat, and Undertaker grabs him. Undertaker hits the tombstone, and Michaels kicks out, and the crowd and the announcers can't believe it. JR says he just had an out-of-body experience.
Outer body experience.
Undertaker drops his strap and does the cutthroat signal, the what I call the appropriate way, not the two-fingered symbol. Undertaker goes for another tombstone, and Michaels counters it into a DDT. A double count is going. Michaels hits an elbow drop. Michaels then hits sweet chin music to get another close 2 count. Another double count going. They get up and trade shots. Undertaker hits a big boot. Michaels fights out of a tombstone attempt, and it continues to chop Undertaker. Michaels gets his foot up on a corner charge. Michaels goes for a moonsault, but Undertaker catches him and hits a tombstone to get the pin and goes 17-0.
Now let me just say, for anybody listening to the show, whether you like wrestling or not, this is a match that you have to see because it is still up there for being one of the greatest wrestling matches of all time. Period.
I would agree with that. I would definitely agree with that. I would put it would definitely be, I think it's the best match of that decade. The match of the 90s, I would put to be Stone Cold versus Bret Hart from WrestleMania 13. And the match of the 80s, I would put as Savage and Steamboat for WrestleMania 3. But if somebody said, hey, this is the all-time best match in WrestleMania history, I'm not going to put up an argument about it.
I mean, obviously for me, it is number 1. But like, you can even still to this day go look at greatest matches of all time, and it either falls in 1 or 2.
Right. Flashback to what led to the next match. Triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Edge versus The Big Show versus John Cena. Vicky Guerrero is shown in a wheelchair being pushed by Chavo Jr. She is the SmackDown general manager and the interim Raw general manager and Edge's storyline wife. Edge out first, Big Show out next. An army of John Cena's comes out to his Word Life thing. Yeah, and they do that.
They all do the "you can't see me."
And there's, if you go back and look at that moment, you can see several of them in the middle. They're like, what am I doing this for? I don't really want to be here.
And you can see that some of them are actually like talent, like future talent for WWE.
Right. Cena comes out to a huge ovation. The belt is presented. The bell rings and Cena attacks the others. Big Show knocks Cena down. Edge proposes a team up against Cena, but Big Show attacks Edge. Big Show dominates early. He steps on Cena. Cena dumps both opponents out, and Cena hits the famouser on Big Show on the outside. Edge throws Cena in. He attacks Cena. Edge hits the Impaler DDT for a 2 count. Edge goes up top, but gets caught. Big Show gets a side slam on Cena for a 2 count. Cena attacks Big Show, but gets pulled out by Chavo Jr. Cena gives Chavo Jr. the attitude adjustment. Cena with a shoulder block for Big Show, who gets tied up in the ropes. Cena with shoulder blocks and a slam to Edge. You can't see me and 5-knuckle shuffle to Edge. Vicky gets up on the apron, and Edge accidentally spears her, and Chavo breaks her fall. Cena rolls Edge up for a 2 count. Big Show gets loose. He knocks both wrestlers down. He chops both wrestlers down. Cena gets Big Show up for an attitude adjustment, but Big Show slips out and slaps Cena down. Big Show goes outside to chokeslam Edge, who counters into a DDT. Edge with a modified spear to Big Show through the barricade. Edge throws Cena in to get a 2 count. Cena ducks a spear attempt and gets the STF on. Cena pulls Edge to the center. Big Show comes back and grabs Cena. Big Show misses a splash on Edge. Cena and Edge double suplex Big Show. They clothesline Big Show out. Edge then attacks Cena. Cena with a blockbuster to Edge. Cena goes up top, but Big Show pushes him off, and Edge spears him in midair. That was pretty good. That was a pretty good move. Big Show breaks up Edge's pin attempt. Edge gets a sleeper on Big Show. Cena puts both men on his shoulders. Edge slips off, but Cena gives the Big Show an attitude adjustment, then one to Edge. Cena then pins Big Show to become the new World Heavyweight Champion, and Cena celebrates with the crowd.
Now, you want to talk about something impressive. The Cena putting Big Show and Edge on his shoulders.
Yes.
Now, Big Show being over 400 pounds, and then Edge being 200. He put like 600 pounds on his, and no problem.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's impressive.
It was. The 2009 Hall of Fame class is introduced. Terry and Dory Funk Jr., Howard Finkel, the Von Erich family, Ricky Steamboat, Coco Beware, Bill Watts, and Stone Cold Steve Austin are the Hall of Fame class. Austin rides an ATV down to the ring and does his beer shower thing. He comes over and drinks with JR. Austin gets a tremendous reaction from the crowd, and then the attendance is announced for the event. Austin was flying on that ATV.
Yes, he was.
When they were announcing the Hall of Fame, you can tell they're like, listen, move the ring steps out of the way because he's going to take those corners hard. And then for the longest time, like after this, oh my goodness, I'm probably going to get it wrong. I want to say it's Mark Eaton, though, was the longtime timekeeper. He was always the guy who threw the beers at Austin. And Austin's like, he had uncanny ability to just keep throwing them and right at Austin. He's like, it didn't take anything to catch them wherever I was. He's like, here you go, Steve. And Mark Eaton was literally like, for 10 of those years, he goes, that's what I got paid to do.
Just throw Austin beer.
He was there.
Hey.
He goes, I did other things, but that was the main thing that I did was just throw Austin beers. I mean,
Hey, if somebody
not
wanted
a
to
bad
pay
job.
me, I know. If somebody wanted to pay me to throw somebody beer, absolutely.
But apparently you've got to be good at it. That's why they did it.
Hey, you
Like,
can repetition.
I will learn.
Yes, that's right.
I will carry beer around with me in practice every day. All right, we then get a flashback to what led up to the main event, WWE Championship match, Triple H versus Randy Orton. Before I go into this, now I am, for the most part, a purist, and I understand and appreciate the World Championship going on last. I think if they had to do it again, they would have put Undertaker's and Michaels on last.
Yes. Because, and I know why you're saying that, but you could tell after Shawn and Taker, the crowd was spent.
Absolutely. I think that's why um the Hall of Fame stuff. I mean, not only they wanted to give Austin the big, the big send off because he's went into the Hall of Fame. They're like, we've got to give the crowd a chance to almost reset itself, because you just had a guy deadlift, you might as well say 600 pounds, and the crowd is like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, he won, yeah. And they're
Yeah.
like, but it was just like there was
There
nothing
was
left.
there was no energy for the last two matches because it was all spent on Taker and Shawn, and rightfully so.
Right.
But it, yeah, when you have a banger match and then your crowd is tired, it's hard for them to recover.
Right. So, WWE Championship match, Triple H versus Randy Orton. Triple H shown in the back. He is approached by Vince and Shane and pats Vince on the shoulder as he heads to the ring. The title can change hands on a disqualification or a count out. Orton out first, and it takes him forever to get to the ring. Triple H comes out with the belt on and the sledgehammer. He throws the hammer and breaks a glass. He comes out looking determined. He gets in the ring and stares down Orton, who is now on the outside. Orton gets in the ring. The introductions are made. Triple H gets a good reception. The belt is presented, and they stare at each other. The bell rings. They circle each other. Triple H takes Orton down and then attacks him in the corner. He beats Orton down. The referee reminds Triple H that he loses his title if he gets disqualified. Orton hits an RKO out of nowhere. Triple H avoids a punt and hits a pedigree. Both wrestlers down. It goes outside and Triple H attacks Orton. Triple H dumps water on himself and then attacks Orton back in the ring. Orton begs off. Triple H kicks Orton down. Triple H catapults Orton into the bottom rope. Triple H drops some knees on Orton. Triple H with a neck breaker. It goes back outside. Orton runs Triple H into the ring steps. Triple H thrown into the timekeeper's area. Orton gets in and tells the referee to start counting. Triple H gets in on the 7 count. Orton stomps on Triple H's midsection and shoulder. Orton attacking Triple H on the mat. Orton with a rear chin lock. Triple H with a back suplex to counter. Orton with a power slam for a 2 count. He goes back to the chin lock. Triple H gets out back and forth. Triple H hits a face buster. Orton turns a pedigree attempt into a catapult. Triple H comes back and puts Orton on the top rope. Orton fights Triple H off and drops him on the top turnbuckle. They trade moves and counters. Triple H with a roll-up for a 2 count. Triple H with a spine buster. Orton answers with an inverted backbreaker for a 2 count. Triple H goes up top, and Orton hits him with a drop kick as Triple H comes off. Triple H blocks another punt attempt and dumps Orton on the outside. Triple H runs Orton into the Spanish announce table. The referee warns Triple H that he will lose his title if he gets disqualified. Triple H gets Orton on the announce table, but Orton backdrops Triple H onto the Spanish announce table. Orton with DDT to Triple H on the floor. Triple H barely beats the count in. Orton stomps Triple H down. He knocks Triple H down in a corner. He breaks on a 3 count. Back and forth. Orton runs Triple H into the referee and then hits an RKO. Orton goes under the ring and grabs a sledgehammer. He comes back in the ring and Triple H hits him with a punt as he comes through the ropes. Triple H hits Orton with the sledgehammer and dumps it outside. He attacks Orton. He hits the pedigree and gets the pin. They replay the highlights of the match. Triple H gets his title and poses over Orton's body. They show a highlight package as they sign off from Houston. So overall thoughts of that match?
Not a bad match. I mean, it was a good match.
Right.
The thoughts, see, there's two thoughts to the match. Watching it when it originally happened, I was spent. I didn't care. Rewatching it, you have a little bit more appreciation for the match.
I agree wholeheartedly. But that's happened to Triple H a few times. I mean, I understand he wants to be in the main event because he's usually tied up with the World Championship. But this also happened to him at WrestleMania 18 in Toronto because the crowd was spent after the Hogan Rock match. but
it is what it is,
it is. So
And I think part uh, with WrestleMania being 2 nights now,
right.
I feel like it's much easier for people not to get spent. I mean, because you're talking about back then, you know, during this time, like during this era of wrestling, your WrestleMania pay-per-view started at what, 6?
Something
If
like that. Yeah.
if I remember around that time, like pre-show and then all the way through. And then it didn't get over till after 11.
Right.
So, I mean, you're talking about a long time being for a crowd member being in the arena. I mean, look at when we went to WrestleMania 40. Look how early we got to the show. I mean,
Right.
you're talking like back then, getting to the show, being there early, then being let inside, then waiting for the show to start, and then it not getting over till after 11 o'clock at night. Like that's
Well, I was thinking back the last one night WrestleMania 35, I think it was in 2019. Because after that, when COVID hit, they all became 2 night
right.
WrestleManias. That one, it was like 6 hours. I think they didn't end that one until after midnight because the
Yeah,
people, it was in New Jersey, and the people were like, the public transportation system had stopped running. There were people stranded out there. So for that reason, it's good that they split it up.
right.
Although I just always remember, in fact, when I was talking, when I had Bob Smith on a couple of weeks ago, I was telling him we were leaving night one, and somebody says, "Come on, hurry up, we've got another show to get to at midnight."
Yeah, that was the Undertaker meet and greet, was it, if I remember right?
Was
That
it?
they were.
I thought it was another wrestling show because there was wrestling shows all over
Oh, yeah,
Philadelphia.
yeah. It was like an independent wrestling
Yeah,
show.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's right too. I couldn't imagine.
I couldn't have done it. I love
No,
wrestling, but look, I've just been to night one of WrestleMania. I'm going home and going to bed.
especially like just how cold we were first night.
Although that's when we went back and met Keithy and Pete. I'm like,
Yeah,
I recognize that voice. Yeah. So overall, I thought this was a really good WrestleMania. Like we just said, the
yeah.
Undertaker Michaels match should have gone on last, but you live and learn. So
Which is why for 26 they did go on last.
right, right. And I was so worried because it felt like for 26 they were just letting it all go out. I thought one of them was going to be like seriously hurt, and it was going to hurt the match quality
Mhm.
of it for that. But for next month, we're doing something a little different. I told Tyler before we started recording. For all of you joining us on Patreon next month, we'll be taking a look at MLW's Intimidation Games. It's on YouTube. They just had it. So something a little bit different. But Tyler, before I let you go, you know how we do it. Go ahead and plug any and everything you have, my
All
friend.
right, you can follow me on BAM X at Tyler Morgan MCK, or you can follow me on Instagram at Tyler MCK 1293.
You can follow me on Facebook, Threads, and Instagram at the Joey Harris. I made it simple for you. If it's a social media and I'm on it, I'm at the Joey Harris. Tyler, again, thanks so much. Thank you all. If you would like to join us for other conversations like this, for the Super Show, everything that we do, patreon.com/baby kangaroo media, all this and so much more, just $5 a month. And as we said when we had the Super Show, Tyler, you can't get a sub for that anymore.
No, and you can't get a burger for $5.
Yep, you cannot.
So,
So,
you know, you guys
but
you just gotta do it,
that's right. All of this, and so not counting, I haven't loaded up the Super Show or this yet, but once I do, that will be 16 things on there. So 16
Wow,
things for just $5. That's and
that's
it's
a lot of
hours.
content.
It's
Yeah, I was gonna
hours and
say,
hours of content for just
because
$5.
I mean, I know almost every show that I've been on, we've gone over an hour.
Yep.
So
Or
there's plenty to
or
listen to us to talk to.
right at an hour.
Mhm.
So all of that, like I said, just $5 a month. Patreon.com/Baby Kangaroo Media. But Tyler, thanks again as always. And for Tyler, this is Joey saying so long from the heart of Virginia.
Bye.
The Cup of Joe Wrestling Show is a production of Baby Kangaroo Media.